Welcome. I'm Lindsey Peña at Costera on Harbor Island. San Diego County's military is one of our region's most valuable assets. And today I'm joined by a group of veterans to discuss the issues that matter to them. Before we begin, we want to introduce everyone. We begin with Chad Lunsford, a recently retired Master Chief in the U.S. Navy who served for 30 years. Joey Jerome, a retired Navy chief. Joe Yorty, Navy veteran and member of the LGBTQ+ community. Ashley Kamak, CEO of 0800 and a military spouse. Miss Iris Wilkins, Marine Corps veteran and current welding teaching assistant at Workshops for Warriors. And last but certainly not least, Bob Lawrence, a former military reporter. And thank you. Thank you all for being here and giving us your time. We want to dive right into our questions. Some of you have recently retired and some of you have been out of the service for a while now. What would you say was the most challenging thing for you while transitioning back to civilian life?
Recently retired, we were talking, is there's no guidebook for it. So the problem with it is when you're active duty transitioning out, there's a lot that happens and it's not overly enjoyable, and then you're out and you're happy. So you never go back because you're out to give them the feedback, but it could be better. There could be a better piece that helps us transition, because like in my case, 32 years as an adult, I've been told what to do by the military. So now I'm going to go into civilian employment. Don't even really know what it looks like. It's just a different animal that you think you're prepared for, but you're not.
Yeah. I think that I watched my husband struggle with understanding what that difference would be when he took on that civilian role. And I watched him struggle with things that he was told to do every day for 20+ years. But I saw him excited to reacclimate with the community and really come home and be home and feel that family again that he would lose every time he would deploy.
From my own personal experience and through other veterans that I know, veteran homelessness is actually something pretty common, or just finding the ability or the resources to prevent going homeless. So oftentimes veterans find themselves in positions where they're couch surfing, and some might even have families, and they can't access these resources until they've already spent their first days on the street. So along with transitioning in our TRS programs that we have, just knowing what resources are available to you or how to access these as a preventative measure would be really helpful.
I got out almost 18 years ago, and I'm only now taking advantage of VA benefits that I was entitled to for the entire 18 years, because in the military no one told me that I was entitled to those benefits. And I encourage anyone watching this to ask a lot of questions and to explore what those benefits might be.
So, no secret that San Diego is a very expensive place to live. How do the current economic conditions impact the wallets of people in the military that you still know right now and those of you who are out?
Cost of living's rough. Normal cost increases for sailors, service members, doesn't keep up. Especially if you're a younger sailor, maybe junior in pay grade, and you've got a family. Trying to live anywhere close to San Diego. Plus San Diego itself has a bit of a housing crisis going on, so just finding a place. Rent is well above BH in most cases, so it's hard. Solutions wise, I don't know, I'm sure somebody smarter than me's looked at it at one point, but why is active duty or military pay taxed? That little bit of money back in a sailor's pocket or a service member's pocket would make a huge quality of life improvement. So if people are looking for ways to fix it, can't change how expensive San Diego is, but maybe putting a little bit of money back in a service member's pocket for their family would be beneficial.
I think it was sobering for me, covering the military, to actually see E3s and below in a food line, having to have assistance in order to feed their family. And that was sobering to me. It was like, you're protecting our country. Why is it you have to stand in line and get food?
Ashley, I want to have you answer because you probably can speak to that,
I think
perspective.
Both from a family perspective and as the CEO of a nonprofit, we're looking at the cost of living here, but really working through assessing what the challenge is. Are we reaching service members far enough in advance to be able to give some education and proactive support to understanding this market? when you're in the military, you're very focused on the mission. And when you leave the military, you now are outside those lines, and this is all new to them.
Joe, you served during Don't Ask, Don't Tell. If you could, take us back to that time and just share with us some of the challenges that you personally faced.
Yeah, I guess when I enlisted, I was 18 years old, had just finished college. I wasn't fully aware of my own sexuality, so it wasn't until I got out of my enlistment to go into an ROTC program and went to college and was put into an atmosphere where I was free to explore myself and my identity. And it was then that I started I got to know myself better and came out of the closet while I was in that ROTC program. The thought of going back into the military after, because they don't just send you to ROTC and let you go. You give 4 years back as an officer. It was daunting for me at the time, and the whole time that I was in those 4 years between 2002 and 2006, I served in fear, especially on board the ship. I was careful, but I lived out in my personal life. I was stationed in Japan for two of those years, so for that time it was relatively easy to stay in the closet at work. But when I got stationed here in San Diego, I met the person who is now my husband. It was not easy to keep it a secret, but I wasn't going to live in the closet outside of work life, and it caused, I think, unnecessary stress in my life. And I was so glad to see it overturned. It's one of the main reasons I got out of the military, and I hope that queer servicemen and women are serving. I hope their experience is better than mine.
I wanted to hop in on what you said, that you hope that new service members are living a better experience. We are.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we are. It's definitely where, for any of the service members that I've at least met, like whoever they are, they're true, they're doing their mission, but I'm thankful that they're able to be true to themselves too.
That's great to hear.
And, yeah.
What things do you think the military can do to alleviate the mental health crisis among both active duty personnel and veterans right now? I think everybody can kind of agree this is a big and main topic that a lot of people focus on right now.
So when I joined the Navy 30 plus years ago, it was taboo to talk about mental health. It was a sign of weakness. It would sideline your career, and even if it really wouldn't, there was a stigma that it would. Today, it's okay to say you're struggling. It's okay to say you're having problems, but now we don't have enough mental health professionals. So I would say we need to incentivize programs to get college kids into the mental health professions. The government and everybody that puts out different grants needs to target this, because it's not just a military thing.
I think that there's been an incredible amount of work over the last decade or so to be able to say you're struggling in the military and receive the care. But I do also think there's an incredible amount of work to still do. One of the things I believe is being handled is the continuum of care. When you have service members who have now stepped up and said, I need support, I'm not feeling well with my mental health, the idea that you get out of the service and then you have to go navigate the mental health industry in the field to find the next person to care for you is maybe where we can do better. And I think that comes with bills being passed to take the DoD and the VA to work together so that that continuum of care does not lapse. But I think the continuum of care is going to be a game changer for our transitioning service members to not feel the burden of losing care in between while they're navigating all the other things when it comes to transitioning out of the military.
Yeah, bottom line, we owe it to our men and women who swore an oath to protect and defend. And it's time, I think, Congress step up to say we owe these people for their service, and to step up in ways that they haven't done yet.
And I think on top of that too, if you get injured, what do? You sit out. You get a busted up ankle. We sit you on the sidelines for a little while. So what? You're still not in the fight. So if I have a brain bruise, why can't I sit out for a while? But it's all this, like Mashik says, the stigma of, oh, you're
Perception.
well, if you're injured, you're injured. Huh?
Yeah.
I don't care what type of injury it is.
These are all incredibly important issues facing our military veterans today. We want to thank all of you for being with us and for your time, and thank you for joining us.